Deep in the Nevada desert, Area 51 has long been a source of intrigue and conspiracy theories. Now, a purported insider claims to have leaked classified information that could expose the facility's true purpose. This video examines the alleged evidence, from documents to images, that promises to shed light on decades of secrecy. But as with all extraordinary claims, critical thinking is crucial. We'll explore these controversial revelations, their potential implications, and the questions they raise about government transparency. Are these genuine leaks offering a glimpse behind the curtain, or an elaborate hoax? Watch and judge for yourself before this information potentially disappears.
Dark history. This secret base in the Nevada desert acts as the US military hub for spatial engineering and, possibly, hopefully, some reverse engineering for some alien crafts. The area is named after the geological grid of the desert. The area gained notoriety, of course, in the early 90s, with numerous claims that workers had worked on alien aircraft and even heard of harboring alien creatures underground. The entire premises is fenced off with signs saying no photography allowed, and also use of deadly force is authorized. So whatever they're hiding here, it's mostly military, hopefully with a little splash of ET. The base has been a testing facility for the Air Force and remains one of the most highly secured and secretive bases in America. Number 9. Tikaboo Peak. Say you're watching this video and you want something, right? What's the closest you can legally get to Area 51, right? What's the only way you can possibly see footage of a little alien ship coming and or going? Well, you gotta go to Tikaboo Peak, that's how. Located right in the middle of the Nevada desert, Area 51, of course, is hard to see. This peak could help that problem. Bob Lazar, back in 1989, he spoke out to news outlets explaining how he used to work in Area 51, specifically on UFOs using anti-gravity technology. With this peak being just 26 miles away from the top secret base, you might just see a test flight or two from the bushes, just like Bob did, right? Number 8. They can't stop all of us. Back in the 1950s, the public wanted answers as well. It was June 17th, 1959. The Reno Evening Gazette published a story with a headline reading, "More flying objects seen in Clark sky." More? What'd I miss? More flying objects? Then the paper even went on to describe how Sergeant Wayne Anderson, a local sheriff, was one of many locals that spotted what the paper described as an object bright green in color and descending towards the earth at a speed too great to be an airplane. Yeah, like a meteor, I guess. I don't know, that's terrifying. What could they possibly be talking about? Number 7, the Gorman dogfight. This one is a classic. A lot of people believe this encounter. This encounter lasted a whopping 27 minutes in the air. A dogfight happened between a veteran World War II fighter pilot named George F. Gorman and a UFO. It was him versus a white orb, and they were both at an extremely high altitude above Fargo, North Dakota. Gorman told a local newspaper following the 1948 event, "The experienced pilot said, and I quote, 'If anyone else had reported such a thing, I would have thought they were crazy.'" Captain Ruppelt operated Project Blue Book, a series of studies conducted by the US Air Force between 1947 and 1969, and there's reports of the same dogfight from the ground as well. So yes, there are multiple eyewitnesses for this one. Number 6, Project Aquatone. So we think about aircraft evolution over the last, say, 100 years. Well, back in 1955, Area 51 was selected by the CIA as a testing site for the Lockheed U-2. And if you've seen Top Gun Maverick lately, good on you, great film, 10 out of 10. But if you've seen it, this will tickle your fancy. The Lockheed U-2 was this high altitude aircraft. It was the top of the line technology, and tests were originally conducted over the codename Project Aquatone. Now on June 25th, 2013, the CIA approved the release of declassified documents that details, for the first time officially, the history of the U-2 and Oxcart programs in response to a Freedom of Information Act request, just like we're seeing right now with these, UFO videos online. The release of those documents marked the first time that the US government actually acknowledged the existence of Area 51. And since then, we've been waiting around for another big announcement or something. Number 5, Virginia sighting. We have to look at some sightings to know what goes on in Area 51, right? If it's spacecrafts or whatever, we've got to look elsewhere for clues. 2 UFO sightings were reported to the National UFO Reporting Center in Virginia on April 4th, 2019, quite recent. At 6:48 a.m., an eyewitness claimed to have seen a light blue circular craft darting across the sky in Virginia Beach headed east. So already you're pumped, right? You're jazzed. Aliens confirmed, right? Then 7 minutes later, an eyewitness at the Norfolk Naval Station, 23 miles northwest, claimed to see what resembled a shooting star with a green glow that never faded. This object also moved without noise and disappeared just like that in 10 seconds. There were 2,348 UFO sightings reported throughout the state between 2001 and 2015. Number 4. Travis Walton, 1975. This horrifying abduction of a local Arizona forester, Travis Walton, take it with a grain of salt. On November 5th, 1975, Walton and a number of others from the logging crew, they were working with timber in the national forest, and then while riding in a truck with 6 other of his co-workers, they allegedly encountered a flying saucer or a saucer-shaped object hovering about 100 feet away in the forest. It was also making a high-pitched buzz, so it was very, something was going on. Walton exited the truck and ran over curious, and then a beam of light appeared from the craft and blasted him unconscious. The other 6 men were terrified and they drove away before returning moments later in panic to a now vanished Travis. Walton claims that he woke up in a hospital room observed by 3 short, bald creatures, aliens. He fought with them until a more human-looking figure led them to another room where he then blacked out again. Walton claimed he remembers nothing else till he found himself awake yet again alongside a highway 5 days later, naked, clueless of what had just happened. Number 3. Renlisham Forest, 1980. It was Boxing Day 1980. The forest lies between the military bases of Bentwaters and Woodbridge. Now at 3 a.m., 2 military personnel, John Burroughs and Jim Peniston, they both respond to bright lights in the forest. The radios also stopped working, which is not helpful at all in this case. There was a static feeling in the air as well, and an odd silence. Now the closer the men got, the more they realized it wasn't one of theirs. Peniston was drawn in and he actually touched the craft. It instantly electrocuted him and apparently downloaded him with odd symbols and star map into his brain before the craft eventually blasted off again. 24 hours later, the craft returned and Deputy Commander Charles Halt is now witness in the exact same spot. Only this time, there are now 3 large landing holes in the grass. Years later, Burroughs and Peniston still ask each other and the British government for their medical records from that night because they never received them. Almost 32 years later and still, they've never received anything. Number 2. O'Hare Airport. The O'Hare Airport incident happened at approximately 4:15 p.m. in broad daylight on November 7th, 2006. The airport received this report that a group of 12 airport employees were all witnessing the same thing. They were all witnessing a metallic saucer-shaped craft hovering still over gate C-17. It was just waiting there for something. The object was spotted by a ramp employee at first, and then it was witnessed by pilots, and then airline management, and then numerous mechanics simultaneously. Air traffic controllers didn't even see the object on radar either. That's the scary part. But in person, sat a completely silent, 7-meter wide, dark gray saucer. Several witnesses outside of the airport also saw the object, calling local police and reporting it, of course, because they were terrified. Numerous phone-ins described a disc or a craft hovering above the airport as well for minutes without moving. So everybody saw this, not just airport officials. According to another witness, the object then shot straight up through the clouds at a high speed, leaving just a clear blue hole in the clouds. Number 1. Zimbabwe sighting. In 1996, a mass sighting was witnessed by an entire school in broad daylight in Zimbabwe. Yeah, more than 150 students and staff were all present at this point. There have been tons of documentaries surrounding this exact case. Face-to-face, arm's length with a craft, and also alien beings. Yeah, this is a whole cosmic visit apparently. The children, who are now mostly in their 30s and or 40s, are still convinced. They still stand by what they saw. More than 100 students can still remember what they claim to be telepathic warning from the creatures surrounding our use of technology and the hazards that it has on our planet. So that's cool. Director and writer James Fox documents this infamous interaction in his 2020 documentary, The Phenomenon. Area 51 could be housing UAPs or parts left over from interactions like this one in Zimbabwe back in 1996. Who knows?
Starting off this countdown, we have the secret entrances. Just last year, a man claimed to have found 3 hidden entrances that lead to Area 51. He discovered this after using Google Earth. He compared images of the base from different time periods. In one particular area in 1998, there seems to be no roads or entrance. Satellite pictures of that same location in 2005, 2010, and 2013 show a road and a dead end with what looks like an entrance and tunnel carved into a mountain. In fact, at the dead end, there appears to be cars parked there. Seems unusual for people to just park there, because what is around for them to do? Wander the barren plain alone? No, they're parking their cars there and then entering Area 51 through this secret entrance. In our 9th spot, we have the alien craft. What I'm about to show you is a leaked video and some photos from Area 51 of an alien spacecraft test. The video features a flying object hovering in the sky and moving in ways that other crafts definitely don't do. This was recorded on May 15, 2017, and then was leaked years later. If this isn't actually a UFO, then what could it be? That's what's baffling people. The way it just moves up and down and side to side that quickly is very strange, especially because of its size. What do you think though? Is this proof that Area 51 has gotten their hands on an alien spacecraft? Moving on to number 8, we have the transportation of a UFO. When this next photo was leaked online, it was met with a number of conspiracy theories. So this is the image of the CIA transporting a large part for one of their top secret projects. In fact, when this was getting transported, the CIA sealed off the entire highway. And I'm sure you can see why this was met with a number of conspiracy theories. Like, look at the shape of the thing that they're transporting. That is definitely a UFO or part of a UFO spaceship. Now, this is where it gets even more interesting. Somehow, a group of bikers made it onto the road. When they were stopped by some soldiers, they asked what they were transporting, and the soldier said they found a UFO up in the mountains. Now apparently he said this jokingly, but who knows? In our 7th spot, we have the Tic Tac UFO. Last year, another UFO was spotted near Area 51. This one was given the name the Tic Tac UFO because of its tic tac shape and white or bright appearance. So this spacecraft was caught on footage by a person driving along near Area 51. He was driving along the extraterrestrial highway. That's the name given to the highway in Nevada, as a number of UFOs have been seen by drivers while on this route. At first, the driver thought that what he was seeing was just a cloud. When he got closer to it, he realized that it was definitely a craft of some kind. Later on, alien hunter Scott Waring confirmed that the UFO was in fact alien in origin. Also, the area in which he was driving through had a number of wind farms in the area. Turns out that in the past, a lot of UFOs have been spotted around wind farms, and one UFO even crashed into a windmill many years back. Some say this is because aliens are fascinated with human technology. In our 6th spot, we have Stephen Barron. In 2016, UFO hunter Steve Barron captured video and photographic evidence of another alien spacecraft close to Area 51. These were taken near his home in Las Vegas, Nevada, an hour drive from Area 51. Using a night vision camera, Steve head out to Red Rock Canyon to try and capture a UFO. The first couple of hours, there was nothing. Then he saw mysterious weird flashing lights appear over a mountain. He said this in regards to the UFO and its lights, and I quote, "First one, then two, then more and more. They put on a spectacular show. I am glad I was patient because the show they put on kept getting better and better." We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the CIA spy plane. In 2011, Los Angeles Times journalist Annie Jacobson published a book called Area 51, an uncensored history of America's top secret military base. In the book, she included a number of never-before-seen photos of the base. The first one I want to show you is of a CIA spy plane. This photo shows an A12 Oxcart hidden behind a barrier at Area 51. This was a top secret plane that was created to reach high speeds and altitudes. During the first 3 years of testing this plane, everything was kept top secret. In fact, the pilots weren't even allowed to tell their wives what they were working on. On May 24th, 1963, during a test flight, the plane crashed. The pilot, Ken Collins, was fine but had to eject himself out of the plane. But afterwards, the CIA actually injected him with sodium pentothal, aka truth serum, to then interrogate him after the crash. That's crazy. In our 4th spot, we have the rare photo. So this photo was also featured in Annie Jacobson's book Area 51, an uncensored history of America's top secret military base. In fact, this is a very rare photo that has never been published before. It was published for the first time in Annie's book, and that's it. This photo is an aerial view of Area 51 taken in 1964. I don't know why it was kept a secret for so long or how Annie got her hands on it, but she did and decided to share it with the world. Moving on at number 3, we have the early U-2 spy planes. In the early 1950s, at the peak of the Cold War, the CIA began to develop planes that they wanted to reach an altitude of 70,000 feet to avoid detection against Soviet radar. This gave birth to the U-2 spy planes that you see here in this picture. This photo was taken in Area 51 in 1956, and pictures a worker standing on the plane's wing. Sadly, at least 3 pilots lost their lives during test flights, including 2 at Area 51 and 1 at an Air Force base in Germany. Coming in at number 2, we have Boyd Bushman. Shortly before his death, former Area 51 engineer Boyd Bushman revealed that he encountered aliens while working at Area 51. In a video, Bushman shows a number of mysterious photos to the camera, including one of an alien and a number of photos of the alien's appendages.
We have a total of at least 18 that exist and operate with our facility.
Now, many people believe that this man is telling the truth. Why? Because he had nothing to gain or lose by sharing his story. Plus, an interrogator with the police studied Boyd's movements and speech pattern during this interview, and he said that it appears as if he's telling the truth. In the interview, he said that Area 51 has at least 18 of these aliens in their facility. He also claims that there are 2 groups of aliens. One group are called the Wranglers, the others are called the Rustlers. The aliens that are considered Wranglers are friendly and have a better relationship with humans. Rustlers, however, have been known to steal cattle. This is all insane. And in our number 1 spot today, we have Boyd Bushman and the UFO. During his interview, Boyd Bushman also revealed photos of real UFO spacecrafts that he saw while working at Area 51.
Up close and personal, this is a UFO which is ready to take off.
So that's a close-up photo of a UFO spacecraft taking off. Then he also showed a different photo of a UFO spacecraft with its lights turned off. What do you think though? Is Boyd telling the truth? Are those real photos of UFOs? Let me know in the comments.
Starting us off at number 10, we have the U-2 spy planes. I know, we just want to get to the alien stuff, but in order to get there, we need to go through the weird human stuff first. So, Area 51 is commonly a place of suspicion, with many thinking that there is proof of aliens and alien tech that lives there. But once the top secret area was finally recognized in 2013, it was released to the public that it is actually a top secret US Air Force base, where they test tons of new and not yet released aircrafts. One of those aircrafts being the U-2 spy plane. The U-2 spy plane was first created to keep an eye on the Soviet Union, as the US was worried about a nuclear threat. This plane is known to fly higher than 70,000 feet with a top speed of 805 miles per hour. The idea was that if this plane could soar so high up and at top speeds, it would be less noticeable than other spy planes at the time. It also didn't need to refuel until after 3,000 miles or so. Flight tests began at Area 51 on August 1st, 1955, after a short 8 months of construction. The project was known as Project Aquatone. Sounds like a skin treatment. The defense contractor Lockheed Martin built the first plane on a $22 million budget, which is about $207 million today. Even though this plane was crazy expensive, one was actually shot down over Soviet airspace in 1960. Both the pilot and the planes were retrieved, but forced the US to admit that they were spying. So what happened next? Well, the SR71 Blackbird. That's right, coming in at our number 9 spot, we have the SR71 Blackbird, the plane that was to make up for the US Air Force's previous failure. Pressure was on the Lockheed Martin team after the U-2 was shot down. They were to create an entire new plane that could not be shot down and fully operational in 20 months. In case you don't know this, that is an extremely difficult task. The Blackbird finally began testing on December 22nd, 1964, and it featured tons of new tech. Aircraft designer Kelly Johnson said everything had to be invented. Everything. It was known to many as the perfect spy plane. It could fly up to 80,000 feet high and also had a top speed of 2,100 miles per hour. That's a freaking huge jump from the U-2. Many at the time believed that the remains of the Roswell Crash in 1947 were actually being kept at Area 51, and don't worry, settle down, I'll get there. But because this was during the Cold War, the CIA actually encouraged the myth that aliens were flying around Area 51 so that the Soviets wouldn't know about their newest weaponized toy. But of course, that wasn't the last of their super cool high-tech toys. At number 8, we have the A12 Oxcart. This was another plane that was in development at the same time as the Blackbird and was in the running to be the new recon spy plane, but the Blackbird won on that one. The other difference was that the A12 Oxcart had a crew of 1 and it was operated by the CIA and not the US Air Force, who could fit a crew of 2 in the Blackbird. Later testing proved that the CIA Air Force didn't want to go through the development of this aircraft, so the A12 slowly morphed into the Blackbird, and even the later plane known as the Interceptor YF-12. The Oxcart, however, was smaller than the Blackbird and faster and could reach higher altitudes, but it was still not the winner in this scenario. It could reach heights of up to 90,000 feet and a top speed of 2,208 miles per hour. These craft only operated from 1967 to 68, which is no wonder why most people forget about this one. Or maybe we were forced to forget about it. It's a conspiracy, man. At number 7, we have the M21 D21 Tagboard. Originally known as the Q12, this craft was originally intended to be expendable. The name was later changed to D21 Tagboard because it was carried on the back of the A12 launch vehicle designated at M21. M stood for mother and D stood for daughter. Then the project was given the name Tagboard. The D21A was built with titanium and various radar-absorbing plastic composites and looked like a stovepipe with a cone in its inlet. The D21 could fly up to speeds of 1,700 miles per hour at an altitude of 95,000 feet. It also had a 3,450 mile range before it needed to refuel. That's pretty impressive. The M21 was a two-seat version of the A12, but unfortunately these tag team drone planes had a bit of an accident. During a flight on July 30th, 1966, a D21 collided with an M21 on release, destroying both crafts. Both crewmen were able to be ejected in time, falling to the sea, but one of them tragically drowned after his pressure suit leaked. The D21 drone was then later replaced by the KH-11 keyhole reconnaissance satellite. At number 6, we have everyone's favorite new toy, drones! Okay, I don't actually mean the US Air Force is testing all those tiny little remote-controlled toys that we all buy online, but it is believed that the new hangar being built in the same place where the A12 Oxcart was tested is actually home to a fleet of new unmanned drones that are just waiting to be taken for a test fly. Test drive? You know, it doesn't matter, you get the point. A quartet of modern hangars divided into two separate buildings measuring 90 feet wide are known to be the hangars number 20 to 23 and have been seen going through some pretty major upgrades. Upgrades for what? Probably these drones. These drones are known more professionally as unmanned combat air vehicles, UCAVs for short. Many theorize that the extension and building of this new hangar in the southern ramp area of the base will house large numbers of these craft, keeping them secret and covered up from overhead spies, inclement weather, and of course our friends above us, the aliens. Coming in at our halfway point at number 5, we have trespassing humans. This one should be an obvious one because I'm sure we all remember the Storm Area 51, they can't stop all of us raid back in September of 2019, which definitely didn't go as planned. This was a Facebook event that over 2 million people responded to going, as well as 1.5 million responded with interested. Obviously, because of all the alien rumors, myths, and legends, just about every single day tourists can be seen trying to get as close as they possibly can to the top secret base. Although the closest people can get is to the gates, which are still miles away from the actual base. Clearly, at least 2 million people thought that if they all band together, then they could storm past the gate, run a few miles, and reach the ultimate destination of Area 51. Emphasis on thought, because on the actual day of the event, only about 150 people showed up and none of them got in. Shocker. I remember the day I came across this event and I laughed my butt off because this was before it made international headlines and I thought it was pretty cool. And I think I even actually responded as going because I thought it was just so freaking funny. But anyway, I never had any real intentions of going because of our number 4 spot. That's right, coming in at number 4, we have camo dudes. All over and around Area 51, you can see camo dudes guarding the gates, viewpoints, and other mildly unprotected entrance and vantage points. These scary and intimidating camo dudes ride around in pure white jeeps, making their presence known to any and all who dare to get close to the top secret base. At the 2 entrances of Area 51, huge and important signs can be seen stating that there is absolutely no trespassing, and if you have the inkling to do so, let it be known that these camo dudes have clearance to use lethal force. That's right, they will shoot at you, and what's the point in finding the answer to are we alone in the universe if you die immediately right after? Or even dying without getting the answer, that's even worse. These camo dudes have also been known to have the ability to listen in on whoever is near the gates, and when tourists ask themselves, hey, I wonder if they will wave to us, they immediately give back a nice little wave confirming that you are being watched and listened to. So, tread carefully. Starting us off in our top 3 spot at number 3, we have UFOs. That's right, no duh. Due to all the top secret flight testing that they do in and around the top secret base, many have found secret little vantage points to camp out and see if they spy anything. With some luck, many have reported seeing UFOs and strange lights above the airbase at night, and many don't believe them to be human technology. Not only have there been reports of strange lights and UFOs above the base, but even in the state of Nevada, there have been countless eyewitnesses to strange things and objects in the sky. I mean, that only makes sense, as Nevada is home to the extraterrestrial highway, which of course was created due to all the alien lore surrounding the area. But many bars, restaurants, cafes, gift shops, all of those things all go along with the theme and also believe for themselves that aliens are indeed real and are indeed here. At number 2, we have spacecrafts. Actual alien spacecrafts. Oh my god! Back in 1942 in Roswell, New Mexico, a devastating crash apparently took place on the night of July 8th. The Roswell Army Airfield reported that they recovered a flying disc from the scene, only to retract their statements soon after, reporting that it was actually just a crashed weather balloon. Yeah, right. Since this incident, many have gone on record saying that the famous picture of Jesse A. Marcel posing with the weather balloon debris was indeed faked. That was what they were asked to report on after the top secret government officials confiscated the actual crash debris and were never seen of again. It is now popular belief that not only was the craft confiscated and brought into a top secret high government hands, there was also 3 human-shaped bodies. Notice the wording. Human-shaped, but not human. Due to all of its top secret mythos, many believe that once Area 51 was built in 1955, that's where all of the evidence from Roswell, New Mexico now rested. Of course, there's no way to prove it unless we get in there, and by the way, I also recently learned that there are even secrets and truths kept from the freaking president. So don't count on getting close to any of that info anytime soon. But wait, back up. Dewey, did you say 3 human-shaped bodies were recovered? Does that mean... Yup. Finally coming in at our number 1 spot, and the most shocking and obvious thing on our list is actual aliens! Back in 1995, footage of an alien autopsy supposedly at Area 51 was released thanks to London-based video entrepreneur Ray Santilli. This footage caused an international sensation and was shown on television networks all over the world. Santilli later in 2006 admitted that the film was a reconstruction, which, no duh. But do we really think the government and the Men in Black would really let the news channels all around the world show an alien autopsy? I don't think so. But that being said, Santilli said the footage was reconstructed, as in that there is actual footage of this autopsy, and whoever created this widely released tape was actually recreating an event that actually happened. To the best of my knowledge, there is no hard proof that this footage exists out there, but it wouldn't matter anyway, because most of it is supposedly lost. All I know is that 3 human-shaped bodies were recovered from Roswell, and that can mean a lot of things. Whether they're at Area 51 or not, I think they're here.
Alright, we're gonna get right into the weeds here with Lazar's claims about flying saucers at Area 51. So when he claimed to have worked there, he said there were 9 alien aircrafts being held and studied at the base. In terms of what these alien crafts were being used for, more detail on that in a bit, but basically they were reverse engineering the alien technology. In terms of what these alien aircrafts looked like, Lazar described them as looking completely different from one another. Some of them he only got a quick glimpse of and were too far away to make out proper details, but a couple really stood out to him, and one he referred to as the Jello mold, describing it looking like, quote, your classic Jello mold with the ripples on the sides of it. One he saw looked more like a flat disc, and part of it was damaged. He figured maybe researchers had been maybe testing whether or not their weapons could penetrate it, or it could have just crashed or been shot down initially. And most of his research was happening at Area S4. But let's go to Hannah for more info on that.
Alright, thanks James. Unless you're living under a rock, I'm positive you have heard about Area 51, otherwise you probably wouldn't have clicked on this video. But do you know about Area S4? Well, neither did most people until Bob Lazar decided he was sick of the secrets and decided to tell the world. According to him, Area S4 is a secret base located in Nevada near its better known counterpart, Area 51. So, why the super secret base connected to an already pretty secret base? Well, aliens. Alien spaceships, alien intel, alien technology, antimatter reactors, and moscovium, also known as element 151. More on that later. But Area S4 was aggressively denied by the government, who even went so far as to say that Bob Lazar never worked at the Area 51 base in the first place. But here's the thing. At one time, they had also said that there was no Area 51 base, and that they weren't big brothering us either. So in this case, I'm thinking I might be inclined to believe Bob for this one.
Now, Bob Lazar also gave vivid descriptions of the technology that was used to gain access into S4, hand scanners. Now, hand scanning tech may not seem all that impressive to us these days, but keep in mind, he was working at Area 51, or claimed to, in the late 80s, so this was pretty advanced technology for the time. If this is true, you can only imagine some of the futuristic tech they could have over there now. According to Bob Lazar, the security system at the S4 facility involved a unique and advanced hand scanning process. When you'd come up to secure areas, you'd be required to undergo a biometric scan using a hand scanning device. Lazar described this device as a very sophisticated piece of tech that scanned the unique patterns and features of the hand to grant access. He'd place his hand on a scanning surface, and the device would analyze all the specific contours and lines on the hand. The security measure was part of the stringent protocols that were in place to control access to all the extraterrestrial technology housed at S4. But now, back to Hannah.
Next up, the Roswell Crash. Now, while Bob Lazar was not the first person to discuss a UFO crash landing in Roswell, New Mexico, he is the first person who has also claimed to have worked on a secret government base to discuss it. So, what is the Roswell Crash? Well, it's an event that took place in 1947. A local farmer discovered what appeared to be a flying saucer crash landed in his backyard. The military was pretty quick to collect the debris. Initially, they were brought to a nearby base, but soon it was leaked that the specimen was sent to other bases in Texas and Ohio for further testing, saying that what had actually landed on the farmer's land was nothing more than a weather balloon. So why did they send it to so many testing facilities? Okay, what's even weirder is that 50 years after the incident, the Air Force released a report claiming that the wreckage was actually part of an espionage mission. Bob Lazar claimed that the whole thing was a poorly planned cover-up, and that the strange events that took place in the area after the crash were due to the fact that what had actually been collected was nothing less than an alien spacecraft. Seems like a lot of lying going on from the government there. They keep changing their story. I'm sure in another 50 years they'll tell us what it actually was.
Alright, next up we have Bob Lazar's description of briefing documents. So we've already covered, and we'll talk more about the alien aircrafts seen at the facility, but what about their origin? Does anyone know where these things came from? Well, according to Lazar, the government did have quite a bit of information on these alien beings, and this info was shared with him and other workers in briefing documents. They were part of a briefing that was provided to personnel working on the classified projects at S4. Lazar described the briefing documents as these detailed manuscripts that covered this whole range of topics related to the alleged extraterrestrial presence. They contained info about the history of these alien beings, their technology, and the reasons for their interactions with Earth.
So, in the beginning, James did mention the 9 spacecrafts being examined in Area 51, but furthermore, over at Base S4, it appears, according to Lazar, that they were actually able to figure out exactly how one of the vessels runs. And apparently, it's on Moscovia, aka element 115, or 115. The element supposedly first became known in 2003 after it was synthesized by a team of Russian and American scientists at a joint institute for nuclear research in Russia, although Lazar claims to have seen the element at the S4 base in the 1980s. So, what is element 115? Well, it's a super heavy radioactive element by bombarding the atoms of element americium, 243 with the ions of calcium 48. Hopefully I pronounced those somewhat correctly. Obviously, I don't recommend trying this at home. As I said, the element is radioactive, and also you probably can't do it at home unless you have some kind of $1,000,000 lab stashed away in your basement. Anyways, I think that I do believe Lazar, because if anything's gonna power an alien spaceship, it's probably gonna be something heavy and radioactive. Back to you, James.
Now, aside from all the alien technology stuff and the inner workings of Area 51, there's another interesting story Bob Lazar has shared about his time working at the base, and that's that his phone needed to be tapped. The higher-ups needed to be able to listen in on Lazar's phone to help make sure he wasn't sharing any sensitive information over the phone, but also to help get a sense of his home life. Lazar wasn't allowed to share any info with anyone, of course, including his wife. She was completely in the dark about what he was doing day to day, and she began to think that he was having an affair. and then she started having an affair. The higher-ups at Area 51 knew this because they'd been listening in on his home phone, but Lazar had no idea. One day he came into work but was stopped from coming in. Then in the days that followed, he started noticing that he was being followed. He found out after the fact that they wanted to make sure Lazar wasn't going off the deep end due to marital problems and that he'd be stable enough to continue his work at the base.
So, Lazar saw the base, and he saw the spacecraft, and he saw what powers it. And then, apparently, he saw military personnel reverse engineer it. Honestly, I don't know why they don't just release this information publicly. I mean, the Pentagon released a bunch of UFO footage, and we're supposed to believe that the best they can do is capture it on video? Like, isn't the United States supposed to have the most powerful military in the world or something? I'm just saying, it might make them look better, and smarter, and more capable if they just said, yeah, we found a spaceship, and it's ours now. But I guess you guys aren't here to listen to me rant about the pointlessness of gatekeeping UFOs. So, Lazar claims that by dissecting one of the vessels on base S4, the government was able to figure out how to build one themselves. Not only that, but he was actually one of the engineers who helped them do it. He also claims that the team used anti-gravity and antimatter technology while crafting the ship, and he had a front row seat to its initial launch.
Thank you, Hannah, and now I'm going to talk more about that launch. So because they knew how these vessels ran, the logical next step was to try taking one for a spin. Lazar described being called out to observe an aerial test of the spacecraft that he'd been helping to work on, and personnel were communicating with someone in the craft who was going to be piloting it. He described the craft as being very quiet, almost completely silent. On initial takeoff, it emitted a blue glowing discharge, making kind of a hissing sound, but once in the air, it just hovered silently. Then the craft did some simple maneuvers, moving around left to right in the air, before it lightly landing back on the ground. Lazar was also told that because traffic in the surrounding area was apparently lowest on Wednesdays, that's when the more impressive flight tests took place. This is where they'd actually take the craft out and fly it higher over the test site and do more impressive maneuvers with it.
So, if Bob Lazar's claims turn out to be true, which they probably will, he will become one of the biggest United States whistleblowers to date, much like Edward Snowden, who revealed the magnitude of government surveillance back in May of 2013. But now that the UFO cat seems to be out of the bag, Lazar has begun to fear for his life. In an interview with 8 News Now, Lazar revealed that the only reason he chose to speak with the news channel was because he believed the government was after him, and he felt that he needed to be in the public eye to ensure his safety. This is the same reason that he claims to have produced his 2018 documentary, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. It's a very direct name, straight to the point. I like it. Lazar claimed that unfavorable things had started happening in his life after revealing the secrets of S4, which he did because he believed that by withholding the information regarding the existence of UFOs and alien intelligence, while many people have backed Lazar's story, with some even claiming to have witnessed the events that took place on the base as well, no one has garnered the same amount of popularity and scrutiny as Lazar, who has had all his credentials wiped from online databases and has been condemned and deemed as a liar by the United States military, who claimed that not only has Lazar never set foot on the base S4, but also that S4 doesn't even exist. But again, the military is known to lie, so let me know in the comments who you believe.
Starting us off with number 10, our secrets kill. In 1994, the US Air Force and the EPA were sued by the widows of Walter Kazar and Robert Frost. The two contractors died while working at Area 51 because they were present when massive quantities of unknown chemicals were being burned in open pits at Groom. The men were never told what the chemicals were, they weren't even allowed to bring gas masks from home or any external equipment, just gloves. They sustained liver, skin, and respiratory injuries, and that soon led to their deaths. Biochemists analyzing the men's biopsies found high levels of industrial toxins in their tissue that are rarely ever seen in humans. Of course, the women lost the case because President Clinton made Area 51 exempt from all environmental disclosure laws, and because the government never actually had to reveal what the chemicals were, so the case had insufficient evidence. I find this so unfair. It's like the case of the population of Chernobyl. Like, the people have to know what they're being exposed to, what they've gone into, so they can make their own informed decisions. You can't just put people's lives on the line. Come on people, let's think. Coming in at number 9 is the employee route. This is one of the most secret places in the world. The contractors there don't even know what materials they're working with. No civilian has ever been inside. Presidents in the past have even requested to know more, like the place is an enigma. And if you thought the employees working there would at least have the real tea, well, you're still half wrong again. National security wanted to make 100% sure Area 51's employees wouldn't ever be able to make it to work without a roadmap, so they came up with a plan. Workers show up to a certain spot in Las Vegas every day and actually get flown into work so they can't remember how to get there. Forget the employees, they had to minimize other people's suspicion and curiosities as well. I mean, employees could easily be followed, so they prevented it completely. Imagine being flown into work every day. Usually I'd say what a life, but in this case I'm really not too sure. And to top it all off, all employees are paid in cash only and have to sign their receipt with a fake name since they're part of a black project. At number 8 we have Dreamland. Before the site gained all this fame with Area 51, it was actually called Dreamland. Weird, I know. I only know of one other Dreamland and it's a water park, not an alien conspiracy site. When it was Dreamland, there weren't all these spooky, freaky stories surrounding it. It didn't make people run for the hills like it does now. It was initially called Dreamland because it was meant to be a quiet place where workers could do their job, mind their own business, and not be called out for being aliens. I don't know whose idea it was to call it Dreamland. Maybe they thought all their dreams would come true if they got all these military jets, right? Or these nuclear weapons, or if they dominated other planets. I don't know. That's why they did all this testing, right? But even then, I still don't see the link between military training and aircraft testing and Dreamland. It's probably Dreamland for someone, but that's definitely not me. Filling our number 7 slot is the landing strip, and we can thank Google Earth Images for this one. Back in 2016, it revealed a strange mile-long landing strip located in Area 6, which is about 12 miles northeast of Area 51. There's also a cluster of hangars at the end of the runway, which is quite odd, and if you don't know what a hangar is, it's basically a building that houses aircrafts. No one knows what's being tested there and why the hell they have a mile-long runway. It looks sus, and based on my previous video about what the government is hiding in Area 51, this is the fully functional alien airport I was talking about. Check that video out if you haven't already. Now at number 6 is Paradise Ranch. So of course there are a number of employees that work at Area 51, and regardless of how high up you were or how much you enjoyed your job, living in the middle of nowhere in the desert is boring. During its heyday when it was a testing site for the U-2 aircraft, an engineer called Kelly Johnson tried to rebrand the area to try and convince more government workers to move there with their families, so he came up with Paradise Ranch. Far from paradise, it was actually just an area filled with rows of trailers for families to live in. That is literally it. No amenities even. I mean, at least build a grocery store or a pool. I don't know how they named it Paradise Ranch. That's the biggest fake news if you ask me. And either way, clearly the ghost town trailer area remained a ghost town trailer area. Even the picture of it just gives me the creeps. Coming in at number 5 is the picture. There are barely any aerial pictures of Area 51 at all, and in 1974 astronauts on Skylab 4 were taking pictures of Earth for a larger project, and they happened to take a picture of Area 51. Honestly, you can't even see anything in the picture but the lake and terrain, but soon after a memo went around to them saying they had specific instructions to not do this, and that this was the only location which had such an instruction. They want to keep this so under wraps. The CIA considers Area 51 to be the most sensitive spot on Earth. So apparently now we can't even take pictures of it from space. I mean, can the CIA control what we do in space? I don't think so. At number 4 is The Fire. Most of you know Tom DeLonge as the lead singer of Blink-182, but what you may not know is that he's now an alien hunter. A few years ago he went camping near Area 51 and things got real. During one night he woke up at around 3 AM and his body felt weird. It felt like static electricity was coursing through his body, and when he finally opened his eyes, he realized at least his fire was still going, but there also seemed to be noises coming from outside his tent. And it wasn't just one sound, it sounded like it was coming from 20 people. Immediately he was thinking, right, I'm about to get abducted, here they are, they're not gonna hurt me, they're just talking He tried to listen in on what they were saying, but he coincidentally passed out and woke up to find he had no idea what had happened in the last 3 hours. And having done a ton of research on the topic, Tom knew this chatter was involved in every alien contact or abduction story, so I mean he was this close. Filling our number 3 slot is the Bassel, and hold on because it's definitely not the Bassel you're thinking of. The Sheehan family has owned Groom Mine, which is a segment of Area 51, for more than 125 years. The US Air Force has been trying to buy the land off them for a very long time, offering them $5.2 million for more than 400 acres of land. They're adamant on kicking them out because even though they've been escorting the family into the space for decades, they can no longer ensure their safety. The base runs 24/7 and sometimes they even cancel missions when the family comes out, which stop being financially viable. On the other side, the family claimed it's not the tests that pose a threat, it's the military themselves. Bullets were even fired around their property in the 40s in an attempt to get them to leave. Family members have even been held at gunpoint on their own property, which the Air Force denies, and the family even tried to sue them but ran out of money. They no longer own the land that generations had worked so hard to obtain, and I think that puts into perspective that when Area 51 is concerned, anything goes. Now at number 2 is the humming. Back in 1965, Charlie Arundel was working as a security guard at a mine near Area 51, and on 2 consecutive nights he was told to shoot anything he saw on sight. Him and a few other guards were driven to another airstrip and told to guard it. The first night they all heard a weird, almost muted humming sound for half an hour, and when the sound stopped, their shifts ended as well. But as they were leaving, they saw a huge circular camouflage tent on the runway surrounded by armed troops with their backs to it. The next night they heard the sound again, but this time the tent was nowhere to be found. Now I can't confirm what Charlie saw because I wasn't there, but I feel like he was bussed to the mile-long airstrip, also known as the functioning alien airport, and was told to protect the vessel as well as potentially kill anyone or anything that comes off of it. And finally, at number 1 is the BBC invasion. Breaking into Area 51 can end up in many ways. Number 1, the camo dudes can just shoot you. Number 2, you can get fined for $1,000 and go to jail for 6 months. Or 3, they sacrifice you to the aliens because you've seen too much. Never thought jail would sound good until now. Either way, this team of journalists from BBC learned this the hard way when in 2012 they broke into the site looking for a juicy story. Anything for the team, my friends. After filming for around 30 minutes, one of the crewmen knocked on a door and 8 camo dudes, which is their official name by the way, I'm actually not bullshit, came out with assault rifles and forced the crew to the ground. They all had to lie face down with guns to their backs for 3 hours until the sheriff came. All their phones, film equipment, microphones, everything were taken away from them, and that's not even the worst part. Amongst the many threats the crew received, one was exceptionally scary. "Son, we could make you disappear and your body will never be found." And I honestly don't doubt they could do that for a second.
Starting off our list today, we have Kapustin Yar in Russia. This place, often shrouded in an aura of intrigue and mystery, is a Russian rocket launch and development site that has fueled countless conspiracy theories and urban legends since its establishment in 1946. Dubbed the Russian Roswell, it has been at the epicenter of UFO folklore in Russia, with numerous sightings and alleged alien encounters reported over the decades. The secrecy surrounding its operations only amplifies the allure, with speculations ranging from hidden extraterrestrial artifacts to advanced undisclosed aerospace technologies. While it serves as a significant hub for Russia's aerospace endeavors, its mysterious past and the restricted access to the site have made it a fertile ground for outlandish theories and urban legends, my favorite. Next up we have Camp Peary, commonly referred to as the Farm, is a site nestled in Virginia in the United States, and it is shrouded in a veil of secrecy that feeds the imagination and fuels countless conspiracy theories. Officially designated as a military reservation, it is widely reputed to be the CIA's premier training facility for spies and intelligence operatives. That's like the coolest thing in the world to me. I would love to be a spy. sci-fi. This cloak and dagger aura is compounded by the tight-lipped nature of its operations and the near impenetrable security surrounding the site, which naturally gives rise to speculations ranging from advanced espionage training methods to covert experiments and beyond. The allure of Camp Peary is not just in what is known, but in the mysteries and possibilities of what might lie within its guarded confines. This blend of fact, speculation, and mystery ensures that this site remains one of America's most interesting and captivating secret facilities. Next up on our list today, we have Hangyang Tan, which is in China. This place is full of mystery, largely due to a very intriguing discovery made there: a vast-scale model of a disputed border area between China, specifically Aksai Chin, a region administered by China but claimed by India. The model, roughly the size of several football fields, was spotted on satellite images, sparking a flurry of speculation. While the official explanation suggests it is likely used for military training, giving troops a detailed 3D perspective of the terrain they might encounter, this has not stopped a wave of theories, of course. People have suggested purposes ranging from advanced weapon testing to extraterrestrial communication. This place is full of secrets the public is just waiting to know the truth about, but the truth is, we will likely never know. Next up on our list today, we have Zhytkor in Russia. Okay, another one of those secret Russian facilities. This place has captivated the imagination of conspiracy theorists. I mean, what doesn't capture their imagination? But also military aficionados. Dubbed by some as Russia's Area 51, this facility is rumored to nestle within the confines of Kapustin Yar missile test range that we already spoke about, which itself is a site of considerable speculation due to its historic ties to the Soviet Union's early forays into space and missile technology. Urban legends paint Zhytkor as a subterranean labyrinth teeming with alien technology and clandestine government experiments. Tales of UFO crash retrievals, reverse engineering of extraterrestrial artifacts, and even advanced propulsion research echo through the corridors of conspiracy forums, fueling a narrative that blends Cold War secrecy with sci-fi mystique. I'm just saying, Bob Lazar probably loves this place. While concrete evidence remains as elusive as the whispers of alien encounters, Zhytkor's allure persists, an unexplained secret base where the limits of technology and reality itself seem to blur. Moving on down our list, we have the Los Alamos National Laboratory, which is located in the scenic New Mexico. This place is not only a cradle of scientific innovation, but also a fertile ground for the imagination. Established during World War II as part of the Manhattan Project, its primary mission was to design and build the atomic bomb. Most of us probably saw Oppenheimer, so I feel like we have a bit of an idea as to what this time in history was like. This clandestine origin has sown the seeds of mysteries that have flourished into various theories and legends. While it is revered for its contributions to nuclear science, space exploration, and national security, Los Alamos also wades through a swamp of speculative tales ranging from alien research to time travel experiments. Despite its transparent achievements in science and technology, the shroud of secrecy that once enveloped its operations feeds public curiosity and fuels tales that tread the fine line between fact and fiction. Next up on our list, we have the Tonopah Test Range, ensconced in the remote reaches of Nevada. This place is a swath of land that has long been the focal point of intense speculation. Officially, it serves as a key site for the testing of advanced weapons systems and aerospace technology, playing a pivotal role in the US military's research and development endeavors. Yet, its veil of secrecy and restricted access has painted it as a hub of extraterrestrial research, secret government experiments, and futuristic aircraft testing grounds that are years ahead of their time. This place remains quite the mystery. What are they doing out there in the Nevada desert? It's the question on everyone's minds. Next up, we have the Voluchinsk submarine base in Russia. A submarine base. Oh my god, it really doesn't get more secretive than that. I don't know, I'm kind of afraid of submarines. I don't know if that's like irrational or not, but it just kind of freaked me out. They're so large. This place is located on the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia, and it is a pivotal yet very mysterious naval installation. Officially known as Rybachi Nuclear Submarine Base, it serves as the home port for a significant portion of Russia's nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine fleet. Say that 5 times fast, holy. This base's remote and inhospitable location, combined with the inherent stealth and destructive power of its submarine inhabitants, shrouds this place in an aura of mystery and foreboding. Urban legends and theories surrounding this base often focus on hypothetical underwater alien bases, or even just covert undersea operations, with some suggesting that the base's submarines are involved in missions or encounters with extraterrestrial technology beneath the Pacific Ocean's depths. I truly could not make this up. Next up on our list today, we have the Thule Air Base in Greenland. This place is the United States' northernmost military installation, and it is a site covered in the icy mists of mystery and intrigue. Situated well within the Arctic Circle, this remote outpost has been a beacon, largely due to its extreme location and strategic importance. While officially it serves as a radar station and a key node in the ballistic missile early warning system, its isolated and harsh environment has only worked to fuel the speculation about scary activities and top-secret experiments. Rumors range from underground facilities burrowing into the Arctic ice to be a staging ground for space weapons or even UFO-related research. Despite these colorful tales, the site's critical role in military and aerospace operations is undeniable, standing as a silent sentinel in one of the most desolate places on Earth. Alright, starting off our top 2, we have the Holloman Air Force Base in the United States, nestled in the arid landscapes of New Mexico. This place is an epicenter of aviation and aerospace innovation, but of course, it is cloaked in secrecy. Renowned for its high-speed test track, where cutting-edge aircraft and technology are pushed to their limits, Holloman has etched its name into the annals of military lore. However, it is not just the technological feats that draw attention. Whispers of UFO sightings and extraterrestrial engagements have swirled around its parameters. While firmly rooted in its mission of advancing aerial prowess, Holloman Air Force Base remains a place where rumors of alien abductions have happened to Air Force sergeants working at the facility. Known for its infamous missing Project Grudge Report 13 after the mysterious death of Sergeant Jonathan P. Lovett in 1956, Holloman Air Force Base is certainly one of the strangest bases on this list. And finally on our list today, we have Area 6. Unlike its more famous neighbor, Area 51, Area 6 has managed to maintain a lower profile, yet it harbors its own strange allure. Officially, this remote outpost is designated for drone testing and other aerial experiments conducted by the Department of Energy and Department of Defense. However, its secluded location and stringent security measures have ignited the public imagination, leading to speculation that it might actually be a hotbed for activities far more secretive than acknowledged. Tales and theories range from experimental aircraft and advanced weapons testing to more outlandish claims of extraterrestrial collaborations. I have a theory for you. What if Area 6 is actually the place where the most secretive things happen, and Area 51 is just used as like a sort of cover-up? Like, oh yeah, look here and how secretive this place is. Well, it's actually Area 6 hiding mermaids and aliens and whatever else is out there that we don't know about. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll probably see you guys again very, very soon. Alright, bye!
It's about weird discoveries that fishermen made out at sea. These discoveries are so creepy that they will actually blow your mind. Where did they come from? Click the video now to find out more.